5 years after Hurricane Katrina and one major oil spill later, Gulf Coast businesses are still struggling to recover. Ewell Smith is the executive director of the Louisiana Seafood Promotion and Marketing Board and also part of the newly formed organization ReadyForTakeoff.org. It's aimed at getting the Gulf Coast back on its feet. Ewell Smith, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Glad to be here.
All right, tell us about this new organization because it sounds like a lot of different entities and states and people are coming together. What's the idea?
Well, the Ready for Takeoff organization, and it's ReadyForTakeoff.org, is an organization formed with Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama. And you think about it, we've been through Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike, and we say that like it rolls off our tongue. And now we've been dealing with the BP oil gusher crisis for, 4 months going on now. And the economic impact has been devastating to our region time and time again. But there's one thing we understand in Louisiana, coming from a crisis of Katrina, is we can come out strong on the other side, but we have to pull together as a community. And pulling the 4 states together for the Ready for Takeoff coalition is one way for us to help do that. And there's several things we can do with this coalition. One thing is we can talk to our federal government about trying to get help to use the Department of Defense or the school systems to buy seafood from the Gulf Coast to help build up demand very quickly for our seafood communities along the Gulf Coast. And there's a lot of other economic development opportunities as well as the Airbus tanker facility in Alabama. So we're going to pull together business leaders from across the Gulf, and we're going to unite, and we're going to take advantage of the talent and resources of the Gulf and rebuild it and revitalize our Gulf Coast.
I thought those were some very unique, creative solutions when you talked about trying to go to some of the biggest buyers of food out there and get them to buy into the seafood industry. Can you give us an update right now how the fishermen and the other workers are doing in that particular industry right now?
Our fishing communities have been hit very hard. The biggest challenge we have is the branding of our seafood. The brand of Louisiana seafood, the brand of Gulf seafood has been severely damaged. You can learn a lot about that at LouisianaSeafoodNews.com. We have stories of real people, stories of the impacts of what's going on to those people, and that website will tell you what's really going on. But our biggest challenge long term is going to be rebuilding the brand of the Gulf seafood brand and Louisiana seafood brand. We've gotten a clean bill of health from FDA, EPA, and NOAA. Those 3 organizations have run over 27,000 samples of seafood and water samples. We've gotten a clean bill of health on everything. I would argue that the water source, the food source coming from the Gulf of Mexico is the safest food source there is in the entire United States, if not North America or the world, and will be for some time to come.
All right, Ewell Smith, I'll be down there with my family next week. We plan to swim in the ocean and eat a lot of that good seafood, so we hope others will join you in supporting all that you're trying to do and rebuild there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time. And FoxNews.com has put together a wealth of information about the Katrina disaster to give you some perspective on where things stand 5 years later. Just log on to FoxNews.com, click on Hurricane Katrina 5 years later. You can check out the slideshow of a day-to-day summary of how the storm developed and all the aftermath as well.